Jim Carrey, one of the funniest guys around, and definitely one of the most extreme guys around. Bit of a lunatic, but that's why we love him. He was born, his original name is pretty close to his stage name, it's just James Eugene Carrey, and he was born on the 17th of January, 1962, in Newmarket, Ontario, in Canada. Which surprised me a little, because I thought he was born in the United States. I had no idea he was a Canadian. He was the youngest of 4 siblings, and his 3 siblings were named Pat, John, and Rita. His parents were named Percy and Kathleen Carey. That was behind my one. He was, as a child, an incurable extrovert, according to the Internet Movie Database. Basically, he never stopped talking. It annoyed his teachers quite a bit. In fact, so much so that he was given time at the end of his junior high classes to do stand-up comedy routines, provided he shut up for the rest of the time. At the age of 10, Carrey had already sent in his resume to the Carol Burnett show. If you don't know who Carol Burnett is, you should look her up. Pretty funny lady. And Jim's young life took a turn for the worse when his family moved to Newmarket, to a Toronto, or from Newmarket, excuse me, to a Toronto suburb. His entire family took janitorial jobs, which is why I have the picture there. And Carrey himself actually had to work 8-hour shifts at a time, which really hurt his schoolwork and everything else in his life. Okay, as an adult, he technically wasn't an adult yet, but he dropped out of high school at age 16. And he did this so he could work on his stand-up comedy act for a career. He particularly focused on his celebrity impersonations, which, if you ever get a chance to watch on YouTube, some of Jim Carrey's stand-up routines, his impersonations are probably the best part. It's pretty funny. And in 1979, he finally worked up the nerve to move to Los Angeles. And once there, he married Melissa Womer. He had a daughter with her named Jane. But unfortunately, Melissa and he had a messy divorce some years later. I think they were married for actually quite a while. Unusually long for a divorced couple. And then after he divorced her, it was like 6 months before he remarried. And his second wife was actress Lauren Holly. I think he was in a movie with her, and that's how he met her. And then their marriage ended in divorce as well, only a year later. And he does not currently have a wife, as far as I know. He was afraid of becoming too settled down in like a home, family man lifestyle. He wanted more work. And he scored parts in shows and films such as The Duck Factory, Once Bitten, Peggy Sue Got Married, and Earth Girls Are Easy, which he played a red alien, I believe. But those movies are slightly less known than the ones we're about to talk about, because Jim Carrey soon after hit the big time. With the movie Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, he made something of a splash, and the big roles from Hollywood started pouring in. He scored the lead part in the movie The Mask, which accentuated his trademarks. And he was one of the leads in the movie Dumb and Dumber. And he even replaced famous comic actor Robin Williams as the Riddler in Batman Forever. That shocked me a bit because I'm a big fan of Robin Williams, and he's a comedic genius, so for anyone to replace him as any part was pretty amazing. Before long, he was one of the most sought-after comic actors in the country, and he was hired for the sequel to his original hit, which was Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. And he actually replaced Chris Farley. I think you know Chris Farley. He's another funny guy in the movie The Cable Guy. And The Cable Guy was actually a $20 million contract for him, which isn't all that uncommon today, but back then that was the highest pay ever offered to a comedic actor, period. So that was an impressive contract for him. I just like that picture, so I thought I should put it on there. Jim Carrey has had many successes since his time with those movies. The Cable Guy is the last one I mentioned, including The Truman Show, Liar Liar, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and pretty recently the movie Yes Man. But how did he become so successful? Obviously, it wasn't just being a performer that made him famous, it was his trademarks. And his trademarks, which I like the way this picture shows them, are his flexible body movements and his facial expressions. He's a very physical actor, and if you ever watch Jim Carrey, he's not nearly as funny if you just hear him, because half of his stuff is just, he's an absolute lunatic with, you know, everything he does. So no one in the acting industry does facial expressions quite like him. Let's see if, no, we have to click on it. So this is a video for your enjoyment if I can get the mouse to move. Just a couple trailers. But we don't appear to have sound. Which is strange.
Sound 안 소리겠어요.
Oh, I see. That sounded like sound.
That should be sound. We'll have to put it all back.
Bruce, I'm God. When you leave this building, you will be endowed with all my powers.
뭐가 보여?
If you could be God for 1 week, what would you do? Who would you help? How would you handle the most powerful responsibility in the universe?
It's funny, I woke up this morning and I swear my boobs got bigger. Do they look bigger to you?
From Universal Pictures and Spyglass Entertainment, you've got prayers. I'm doing some good here. And the director of Liar Liar, Dan. Forget it's okay. Jim Carrey, Night. I am Bruce Almighty. I will be God. Bruce Almighty. Comments are still in. What else is on? Yeah, let's do it over. Coming to you now from the largest studio ever constructed. It's the Truman Show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Whispers, looking gone.
Morning, Spencer. How's it going?
What if you watched every moment of your life?
How many cameras you got there in that town?
All right, pal. I believe Truman is the first child to have been legally adopted by a corporation. That's correct. Watch what happens.
So that is just a couple trailers from 2 of Jim Carrey's famous movies, and he's a great actor, and we all love him. That's my presentation.